Hello there folks, Skullgrim140 back here again for another video, and, okay, I don't know why it is, but whenever I always start off a video, I always go ahead and say and then point towards the ceiling as if there's something on the ceiling that I'm specifically interested in. But there isn't, it's just a ceiling, and it's just bland, so what are you gonna do? It's a habit I do quite a lot in these videos, and I try to avoid doing it, but it happens, nonetheless. So anyway, yes, what is this video going to be about? Well, we are now in August, depending on when you're watching this, and that can mean only one thing and one thing only. The Auto Assembly 2013 is drawing very, very close, and as you can see, I'm wearing green because I want to be with the crowd and wearing green, because green, of course, is the official color for anyone who's going to Auto Assembly to wear, or whenever making a video. And depending on when you're watching this as well, we are now looking at the countdown. We are at now 6 days, 23 hours, 4 minutes, and 50 seconds, and counting. So, yeah, Auto Assembly is drawing so close. I'm getting excited, as I'm sure a lot of people who are going probably are as well. And I thought I might as well just get this video out of the way now, just to really boost the excitement as well, and get you all in the mood as well to go. And I had to choose as well between this video and another video that I want to do, which is a discussion video, which is regarding a few things, mostly in how reviews have gone so far for a lot of people. And I don't want to do that now, because I'll just dampen the spirits of everyone who's going, so I'll just leave that aside for another day. But yes, this pre-Auto Assembly video, as it shall be called, is a look at something that I have just finished quite recently, actually. And it's of a book that I'm pretty sure a lot of people, well, mostly Transformers fans have heard of. And it's mostly relating to this guy, and the guy who played him. And I don't even know where to begin by saying that I had so much fun reading this book. Not just in how the history of Transformers really has evolved over the years, but from the viewpoint of one person who was unaware of how it would grow to become such a cultural phenomenon. And really, if you've never heard of this book, and especially if you're going to Auto Assembly, you really need to read this book, because this really is one that I would highly recommend in particular. So let's not waste any time. What am I talking about today? Well, since I've mentioned Bumblebee, and since I've mentioned his voice actor, we are going to be taking a look at this. Let's begin, shall we? So let's see, where do I begin with this? Bumblebee and me, life as a G1 Transformer. I don't want to go ahead and make this sound like it's really shoehorned in, but this probably is one of the most insightful and really in-depth look at a voice actor's perspective in how he got started into something that really has grown to be such a popular cultural phenomenon. And regarding Bumblebee, because we all know who Bumblebee is, anyone and their own mother knows who Bumblebee is. I already did a review of him, so I won't repeat myself here, but I will just go ahead and say that the Bumblebee as a character has changed remarkably in just how much he has evolved, from starting out being a lovable, likable character, and still maintaining that little bit of a likable personality to him. But over the years, he's changed forms, and he's changed voice actors, and he's still maintained that same personality that you would expect from that character. And from a voice actor's perspective, from Dan Gilvezan's own perspective, and I really haven't seen anyone on here review this book yet, it's just so much fun reading this book and just taking in so much of what he had to go through to work in the show, and working with the amount of talent that would come and go as the years would go by that was involved in the show, and just being unaware of how popular Transformers has become over the years, because when you're involved in something, you are immediately unaware of how popular it might become, because if something is started, it could either end in two ways. It could either end in failure, or it could either end in success. And this is one of those that I think, from the very beginning, from a voice actor's viewpoint, it's amazing to see how from humble beginnings, just to see where he started, and where he ended up where he is now, is really fascinating to really read. And being somebody as well who has been a fan of voice acting for quite some time, and who has tried effortlessly to try and get into voice acting, and even though I'm an occasional fan dubs, it's just so much fun as well to really read the... Well, not just read, but just to look and take in the behind-the-scenes gossip from the recording booth, I think, really is where the best way to really look at this book is. Because from beginning to end, this book really is from the viewpoint of one person who was unaware of how how popular this franchise would become. And for about under an hour, I think. Well, it took me about a week to really finish, but it's not a very long book though, so it won't take you very long to read. But just going through all the pages and just reading everything that was there. I won't spoil this book for anyone who hasn't already read it, but if you have already read it, then you will know how good it is. But this book in particular, I will say, is fantastic to read. If you're a Transformers fan, if you aren't even particularly all that into the fiction of Transformers, the cartoons or the comics or whatever, I would still recommend this book. And if you are someone who is looking to get into voice acting, this book, I would say, probably is the be-all and end-all to that question, I think. Because reading this man's story and how he started out from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends to being involved in Transformers, really, I think is just one that it's a marvel to really look into, I think. So, really, I think the best way to really give you a little overview of this book really is it's about 10 chapters long. And, of course, there's the cast list and the episode guide of 90 episodes of the show, not counting the movie. But really, I think it's a wonderful book. Like I said, it's a short book, though. That's my only major complaint, is that it's a short book, so it's not very long to read. But despite the length, it's still worth the money, and it's still worth reading, no matter how long or how short it is. What more can really be said about this book, except it really is just a look into how, from a voice actor's perspective, and the talent that he was working with over the years, and Dan Gilvezan, who I met in 2008, or December 2008, who really is a wonderful voice actor. It really is an amazing treat to see from his own viewpoint and how Transformers has evolved over the years, and from his own viewpoint as well, voicing a character that he had no idea would become quite an icon in some way. Just seeing how popular that character would be and how popular the franchise that character was a part of would be, it's so fascinating, I think. So, just to close this off, I think, because I don't want to spoil this for you, I think. Anyway, if you haven't already read this book, I would strongly recommend that you buy this book, because they're selling it at Auto Assembly, I think. And I know that Dan Gilvezan is going to have a panel where he's going to just go over this book, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but anyway, but just read this book. If you've got this book and you haven't read it, please read it, because this is such a wonderful read to book. It's such a good book to read, just to hear from a voice actor's viewpoint. And you're going to keep. I've been saying this a little bit now throughout this whole video. It's just fun to read from his own viewpoint and how he got involved in Transformers. And it's a very meticulously well looked into book, I think. Just seeing how well Transformers has done over the years from his own viewpoint, and how his character has grown over the years, and the highs and the lows of what the show would bring, and all the good points of what the show would bring, as well as just hearing from his own viewpoint in the talent that he had to work with being involved in the show. Because keeping in mind, G1 had a huge amount of talent over the years that is still loved and remembered to this day, I think. And this book really, it gives you an insight, it gives you a behind-the-scenes look of what G1 was like from a voice actor standpoint. So really, I'll close this off by saying, get this book and read it. That's all I will say. It's a wonderful book. The length isn't very long, but that's fine. I had a lot of fun reading it, and a few people who have already bought this book and read it had a lot of fun reading as well. You will not be disappointed. So please, by all means, consider this the first review on here about this book, because this book really is one that, if you have not met Dan Gilvezan, and if you're going to Auto Assembly this year, read this book and then get it signed and keep it with you at all times, because this book really is. It's one of those experiences that, if you are a fan of voice acting and if you're a fan of Transformers, that it will take you over the the glory days of of G1 and what special meaning it had to some people as well. So really, that's all I can say regarding this book. Bumblebee and Me, a fantastic read, a fantastic look in the life and times of Dan Gilvezan and his journey from getting involved in a character that he had no idea would be a part of something so globally successful. And with all that said, this has been Bumblebee and Me, Life as a G1 Transformer, a really interesting read. Get it, please get it by all means. Get it and enjoy it and get it signed at this year's Auto Assembly. If you're going to Auto Assembly and you're going to meet Dan Gilvezan, then you already know what to expect. I'm Skull140. With Auto Assembly drawing very close to us now, I will try and get one more video out next week, just so we can kind of really get ready for Auto Assembly though. So yeah, I hope that this video has at least got you excited for what to get out of this book. So anyway, yes, thanks for watching everybody. See you all soon. Take care.